Today's video is sponsored by the new Paperlike 2.0, which makes writing or drawing with any Apple Pencil on any iPad feel more like paper. Oh man, it's finally here. The new 2020 iPad Pro. I guess I'm so excited about it, I forgot to say, hey, it's Chris. Check out this description right off Apple's website. Your next computer is not a computer. It's a magical piece of glass. It's so fast, most PCs can't catch up. It has pro cameras that can transform reality, and you can use it with touch, pencil, keyboard, and now Trackpad. So they did it. They stuck a Trackpad in the new smart keyboard, just like we had been predicting. But they actually went above and beyond here. There's a brand new design to this keyboard, and I almost feel like the new smart keyboard is almost a bigger story, a bigger deal than what's new with the actual iPad itself. Do you guys feel like that? It never struck me that a keyboard would be as exciting as I'm finding this particular keyboard. Not only because it floats in the air, it's an insanely cool design, right? This is what makes me smile about Apple's designs. I mean, do you have any idea how good this is gonna look on my desk and on your desk? But it has several of the features that I wanted. I wanted backlit keys, and now we have backlit keys. And on top of that, we also got scissor switch keys. That's another thing that I just mentioned it just a couple days ago in the video saying that I wanted, and it's here. Something else is cool that I actually wasn't expecting is the built-in USB-C port with pass-through charging. So, in the past, some USB-C ports have been used on external keyboards for iPads to just charge them up. Well, this one, you can charge the keyboard and your iPad all at the same time, it sounds like, which is pretty cool. So this trackpad, I don't know exactly how it's gonna work, but I can already see from the demo videos that it's gonna be awesome for multitasking. So you're not gonna have to swipe up on the screen to bring up all your different apps and spaces. Now you can do that from the trackpad. I think it's gonna change the way that we use the iPad in a really cool, fun, useful way. When all the dust settles and people have tested out this new keyboard versus the old smart keyboard and these new scissor keys versus the old keys, I just think it's gonna be a night and day difference. I think it's gonna be great. All right, so listen to this. Trackpad support opens up powerful new ways to use your iPad. The reimagined cursor experience has been designed specifically to work in a touch-first environment. So we're still considering this a touch-first device. That's key information. It's contextual, so it transforms into the tool you need depending on the content you're pointing to, like buttons, app icons, and text. Very cool. It's perfect for tasks where you need an extra level of precision, like building a spreadsheet or editing text. How many people have been complaining about spreadsheets and the touch interface? No more. And you can quickly use intuitive trackpad gestures to quickly get around an iPadOS. Sounds like a dream come true. It's kind of weird that the cursor is not your traditional mouse. I know they're being very purposeful about that because they don't want you to think about this with that same paradigm that's been around forever. It's a paradigm shift. All right, I guess we can move on and talk about some of the other things aside from the awesome floating keyboard, such as the Liquid Retina display, which is gonna be very bright, 600 nits of brightness. It's got an anti-reflectivity coating, which is great, ultra-wide color gamut here. I will say this, I've been using the 11-inch iPad Pro, but I told myself when the new iPad Pro comes out, I'm gonna go ahead and go back, because I had it before, to the bigger size, because I use my iPad mostly at my desk, and I've been using Sidecar so much lately that I want that extra screen real estate when I'm at my desk. So the screen, it was great already, and True Tone, ProMotion, great, but just a bigger form factor for me is gonna be the way to go this year. Man, I just can't tell what my favorite feature is so far or what it's gonna be, but I can guarantee you this, I'm gonna be thinking about it a lot, and I'm gonna be talking about it a lot on the Dailytekk After Party, our podcast. It's linked up down below if you haven't gotten in on the party yet. All right, let's talk about the cameras. Now, I talked about these in my what could be coming in the 2020 iPad Pro video recently. Now, at the time, I didn't know that there was gonna be a wide and an ultra wide, right? I thought maybe it was gonna be a triple camera setup. Everybody did. But this is interesting. There has to be a differentiation between what's on the iPhone and what's on the iPad Pro, or the iPhone Pro and the iPad Pro. It shouldn't be exactly the same. And I think the more mobile device should have more cameras and better capabilities, probably. That makes the most sense. Still, I think the addition of a really nice wide and ultra wide lens here is going to be killer for the same reasons that I already talked about. If I want to do my entire workflow as a creative person on one device without having to mess with airdropping and transferring and plugging in stuff and external drives, to be able to capture some media, whether it's a photo or video, and then edit that media and publish that media on one device is really cool. Now, I'm curious here about what they're calling studio quality mics to pair with these cameras, because you remember we got podcast quality mics on the new 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I tested those on the podcast and they sounded really good. Not as good as my actual podcasting mic. So what's a studio quality mic going to be able to do? I don't know, but I want to test it. Probably what I think this is going to allow for is somebody like a student, maybe with a limited budget, who can't go out and buy a ton of gear to make something of a very high quality and put it out there. Or maybe some small businesses where they aren't necessarily into pro production, but they need something that is really, really nice. I think this is going to serve those people really well. Now, it looks like instead of that triple lens, what Apple actually put there instead was the LiDAR sensor. So it's a time of flight sensor. We've been talking about this a lot on the channel, but it's gonna basically allow for better AR experiences. Although it wasn't mentioned specifically, it will also be good for photos. But I think they're saving that for the next iPhone announcement. If you think about it, AR is something that Apple's been pushing for a long time. And a lot of people, I think, end up sort of yawning their way through the AR demos back when we used to do live events, remember those? But it is a cool technology, and I think it's gonna hit critical mass whenever we end up with some Apple AR glasses. But in the meantime, iPads in general, and this iPad particularly, will be the best way to experience AR because of all that extra screen real estate and this new sensor. Up until this point right here, AR has been a little bit clumsy, I would say. I think you've experienced that if you've ever tried to play an AR game, or if you've done some sort of educational AR app. It's been cool, but sometimes the things move around and they don't stay rooted to the place in the room where you started them. And this is gonna fix that, and it's going to make it a lot more robust. It's gonna make it feel a lot more mature and professional and usable. Now again, since this is gonna shoot 4K, I think this is gonna be a great place to use Filmic's Dailytekk app, especially for interviews or anything like that, to be able to capture two different perspectives and then cut between them at one time. Now, as far as the front-facing camera setup goes, we have a true depth camera sensor there, and I really wish that Apple would have moved it from being on top in the vertical perspective to being on top in the horizontal perspective. Because as it is, when you're holding your iPad in horizontal mode, sometimes your thumb covers up that camera, and Face ID is kind of a pain that way. I mean, it's fine, it's not a big deal, but I think it would be better where I wanted it. So in terms of performance, the iPad Pro is now packing an A12Z chip. Sometimes we get an X chip, now it's a Z. I mean, iPads were already so fast, and there was hardly anything that you could do to bog them down. So again, this is just a way, I think, to, if you buy this, sort of stay future-proof and ahead of the curve, and if you get it now, it's gonna stay fast for a lot longer into the future than if you got maybe a cheaper iPad. That's basically the gist. It's gonna be really good for gaming though, I will say that. This is an 8-core setup though, and I think that's gonna be important if you are gonna do anything like shooting and processing 4K video, for instance, with this device. And then if you happen to have a job where you're doing anything like 3D design, then obviously this would be beneficial too. One place where you really end up enjoying that speed is when you're multitasking and you've got a bunch of different apps open and you want to be able to switch between them really quickly and seamlessly. I mean, that's where this performance is going to be really great, because that's one place where you notice it if you don't have the performance when you're multitasking and switching between things and it's laggy. That's not fun. So to not have to worry about that, everyone's gonna like that. I'm shooting this video really quickly so I can get it out to you guys, and at first glance, it doesn't look like the Apple Pencil is changed or new in any way, which is fine. I definitely like the second generation better than the original. It's less slippery. I like that one edge, so if I set it down, it doesn't roll away, and I never have to worry about whether it's gonna be charged or lost. I never have to find it. So this is one of those things, like, if it's not broken, you don't have to fix it. Hey, Future Chris breaking in here. I'm editing this video and I'm realizing when I'm talking about connectivity, that I've always wanted two USB-C ports on the iPad Pro. And now that we have one with pass-through charging in the keyboard case, and we have one on the iPad, do we actually now have functionally two USB-C ports? And if so, whoa! I do see though that we've got Wi-Fi 6, which is great, and gigabit class LTE. I don't know where you fall, if you prefer to have a connection, an internet connection built right into your iPad, or if you'd rather just tether your internet connection from your phone to your iPad. But either way, gigabit class LTE available. That's a nice option. So we got the 4-speaker setup on this iPad, which is great. I didn't see that they were doing anything super magical like we got in the 16-inch MacBook Pro's new speakers, which were just so good, crazy good, mind-blowingly good. I'd like to test these out and see if we've ended up getting a big upgrade here or not, but they were good enough already, I think. So that's not a bad thing, even if they're pretty much the same as before. All right, so at this point, let me go through and build my dream iPad Pro configuration, and you guys can watch and see my thought process behind what I'm gonna end up ordering. So I think I've already mentioned this. I'm gonna go for the 12.9-inch display, which starts at $999. The 11-inch starts at $799. That's still a really great entry-level price point. And now we come to the age-old quandary. Should you pick space gray or silver? And really, are they all that different? I'm gonna go with the space gray. If there was a black, just straight up matte black something, I'd probably go with that. Or if I could get it all white, I would like that better than silver or whatever. Ooh, now here's the storage. This is where things can get pretty expensive. You can get 128 gigs from $999 for the 12.9 that we're going with here, or you can go up to a 1 terabyte configuration for $1499. That is very pricey, my friends. Now, it all comes down to what you're gonna be doing here. If you're gonna be doing 4K video editing and you don't wanna mess with external drives and stuff as much as possible, I would absolutely recommend the 1 terabyte. I think that's what I'm gonna go with because I do video editing. And then the last option here is the connectivity, either Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi and cellular. I'm just gonna go with the Wi-Fi because I don't ever find myself really needing, crucially, a built-in internet connection. So then you gotta add in some Apple Care, which I would recommend. You can do that for either $599 a month or $129. I'd rather just pay for it, get it over with, no subscriptions. So I'm gonna add that to the cart. All right, so 12.9-inch iPad Pro, Wi-Fi, 1 terabyte, space gray, $14.99, no engraving, add to bag. Now, I've already got an Apple Pencil, so I don't need to order another one of those. I do, however, very much need to order the new floating keyboard. That thing is so cool. Ooh, so that's gonna run $199, add that to the bag, and I don't believe that's gonna be available until May. It's a good idea to pick up some sort of a hub or adapter. You can get the USB-C digital AV multi-port adapter from Apple for $69, or you can get a hub like I was talking about. I've already got several of those, so I'm gonna skip that. Oh, interesting. You can get a Magic Trackpad 2 to work with this. I never even thought about that. That is very interesting. That's listed as an official accessory now. Oh, and the official Magic Mouse too. Wow, the bag total is $1,978.82. Dang. Hopefully, there's some fun surprises in iPadOS to go along with this that will really just fully deck out and build out the iPad experience. I cannot wait to test this and let you guys know, is this now a viable or maybe a perfect solution for a lot of people out there? If you own an iPad or you're looking to get one soon, then check out today's sponsor, Paperlike, now in the second version, which is an accessory that makes it feel and sound more like you're using real paper when you're working with an Apple Pencil. One of my favorite things about the new Paperlike is that it's much clearer to watch movies or view content through it when you're not writing or drawing. Paperlike actually gives you more control with your Apple Pencil thanks to that paper-like resistance that it offers. And yes, it really makes a difference. Plus, it reduces glare and fingerprints, which who doesn't want that? Paperlike's great for anyone who wants to use apps like Apple Notes or Notability or Procreate or Affinity Photo, among many others. When you place an order, you're gonna get 2 Paperlike covers plus application accessories, along with free worldwide shipping and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can place a Paperlike 2.0 order using the link down in the description. All right, well, I think that's it for this reaction video. Keep it tuned to the channel because there's some other Apple announcements that have happened and probably will be happening. I'm gonna be covering those for you guys as well. Don't forget to check out the Daily Tech After Party. That is our podcast. It's free. Check out applehype.com every single day for some Apple essentials that will only take you about 15 seconds or less to check out. Otherwise, don't forget to follow @Dailytekk, spelled Daily Tekk, on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay safe and well. Later.